Man, what a great intro. That's great. I'm going to do something different. I'm going to do this really quickly, and then I'm going to move on. We're going to get to the guest. This guest tonight is the best, man. I am so excited. I ran into Priscilla Presley. What do you think of that piece? How great is that for Muller Manor? And then I don't know if you like Elvis or not, but man, it's so great. There she is as a young sweet thing. I think he hit on her when she was like 13 or 14. Oh, and then I got this from the movie. You ever see the movie The Warriors? This is Swan's jacket. How beautiful is this? Warriors come out and play, if you know the movie. All right, let's skip the intro. Let's skip everything. Oh, there she is. There she is. Let's skip past this, and I just want to get to the guest. I feel very different tonight. STFU, shut the F up form of interviewing. How are you, Jack?
What up, Mancow? How you doing, man?
Man, it's so good to see you, and I'm so excited to have you on. And I don't want to give away who or whom, but I was talking to a mutual friend of ours who's fairly big name, no, really big name. And he said, I don't understand how the guy does it. He has things weeks and months before the government. So when he tells you things, he knows. I was working on a show called Future News for Fox. It was going to be part of a segment, actually, with Breitbart. And he was going to come on and make a big announcement that he said it's the end of Obama. It's the end of Hillary. It's the end of all of them. And I've got a video. And I said, what is it? He goes, no. Well, I'm going to release it on your show simultaneously on my my platform. And he goes, it's going to bring them all down. And then they found him. I don't know how I got into this. They found him dead on the sidewalk. And I've never seen anything like it, buddy. And I started in the mid 80s. You probably weren't even born yet, but I've never seen anything like it in my life. They said, nothing to see here. He was jogging at 2:00 in the morning. Anyway, that was always a guy that I thought had future news. And I hear the same about you. Can you hear me still?
Yeah, no, you sound great.
Okay. And any shock at what I just told you?
I mean, look, everybody knows that, that was one of the more controversial situations that happened.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, people all want to know what stories did he have? Because what's really interesting with Andrew Breitbart, aside from what most people know, right? Everybody knows outside. I got to meet him once before that happened. And I got a book signed. He said, keep up the fight. I said, okay, Andrew, I will. And that his Twitter account is actually still active. And not active, excuse me. It like active in the sense that it's, it's still up. It's still there. So it's still visible. So it's not like locked or deactivated or anything. So you can go and you can see all of his tweets. You can see the stuff that he was working about. You can see the stuff that he was going on. And you're so right, man. He was constantly hinting at things, whether it be, Hillary and Obama and people connected to them and stuff that he was working on. And that was the thing, right? With Andrew. And that's what we all loved about him, was that he always had like the next big thing, and you knew he was working on it, but he couldn't get it out. Well, from time to time. I'm
telling you, buddy, that I pestered him, and it was big. And he said, "There's no question. It's so evil. It's way worse than we ever thought." And then Hannity came out with this anemic video, a couple of months later, and said, "This is what Breitbart had," and I know for a fact it isn't. Why is your name listed as Poso? Is that how you want to be labeled?
I just throw Poso out there because people are all like, "Oh, how do I say it? Is it Posobiec? Is it Posobiec? Blah blah blah." And I just say, just go Poso. Just go Poso.
You're a good Polish boy. Somebody suggested I start with a Polish joke, and I said, "Well, that I'm not going to do."
Hey, I always say that to people. just be wary of what comes back. I'll throw the Italian jokes back out there. No. I throw them all right back. I'll throw them all right back.
Well, I'm married to an Italian, and my wife and kids are Italian citizens. You want to hear a good Italian joke?
Yes.
The Greeks claim they invented everything, right?
Of course.
And Greeks and vegans are the ones that'll tell you immediately, I'm Greek, I'm vegan, I'm Greek, like our friend Bill. I'm vegan, I'm vegan, right. I get it.
Yeah, I know.
The Greeks claim they invented sex. But it was the Italians that added women.
Oh, no.
That's a good one. That's a good one. All right. So, look, I had fun hanging out with you in Florida. Who was that other guy that was there? Who was that other guy that was there?
We were there with
not the famous one. Don't say the famous one.
No. We were there with
Cernovich. And how's he doing?
Oh, he's doing great. He's living the dream. He just had number 4. They just had number 4 over there out in California. They're having a good time.
And
he's working on a new. if I haven't really talked to him about it, but just just chatting here and there. He's working on a new documentary, it looks like.
Okay, so I've done, have I done a lousy job? I think I've done a lousy job because I'll tell you what, I've been, I don't know, ankle deep in shit and standing on my head for the last couple of years. I've been battling evil. You wouldn't have any idea what kind of evil I've been battling, and I'm winning. And so right now I'm feeling really good. Does Crossfire Hurricane document, does that mean anything to you?
I mean, you mean the new Crossfire Hurricane document? So
yeah. Does that mean anything?
Really going on, right? Here's the thing, right?
Jack, let me tell everybody who you are. I'm really done. I'm really, just because I know you and I've talked to you.
Jack,
who are you?
Jack Posobiec. Yeah, Jack Posobiec, prior Navy intelligence officer. Was worked in conservative media, alternative media, whatever you want to call it, for a number of years now. Currently, I'm the senior editor at humanevents.com, which is the formerly Human Events magazine. We've taken it digital, but we've got the whole caboodle that we're bringing on to the, kind of resurrecting it for the digital age. And, I've been, sort of a member of the Trump movement, the MAGA movement, whatever you want to call it, this independent rise since 2016. But before that, I was an intelligence officer. And yes, I worked in the intel community. So appreciate you having the feds on like me. Jack Posobiec, as we all know my real name is, because it glows like a fed. But when I talk about this Crossfire Hurricane situation, this is what people need to understand, is that the theory of the case is, and what I've been told about this, the classified documents case. Now, this is separate, totally separate from the case that you see going on in New York City right now. That's the Stormy Daniels and the National Enquirer and this weird, there's like an NDA and she broke the NDA, blah, blah, blah. That's totally separate from this other document that we get out today. And this specifically is information that shows the highest levels of the Biden White House were working with the FBI and the National Archives because they were searching. And this is something I reported. So the Mar-a-Lago raid happens, 2 years ago at this point. When people say, why did that happen? Why did they do that? And remember, we always got these weird answers about what they were actually looking for. Like, what was it that was so big
papers he
that
took
Trump had? Yeah. Right. Okay. But what was in the papers? What was in the papers that was so bad? You got to send FBI agents with firearms to the home of a former president to get these papers.
Do you know?
So this is what I reported.
Yeah.
This is, I can tell you what I reported back then, because I've said this publicly for almost a full 2 years at this point, that what they're really after and what they have yet to recover are the actual source documents of the Crossfire Hurricane operation. So what
is what? Yeah.
So the Crossfire Hurricane operation was not the 2020 stuff, not the 2022 stuff. We're talking 2015, 2016, when the CIA and the FBI, John Brennan, James Comey, and Jim Clapper, and all these guys put together the original investigation, the wiretapping, and everybody's favorite F word. No, not your favorite F word. FISA, the FISA F word. That was what they used these documents to go after the Trump campaign, to be able to wiretap him, to wiretap his campaign. So here's the dirty little secret, is that they say Trump kept, right? He kept the documents that they had drawn up on himself when he was president. He said, give me a copy of those documents. I want this, because nobody else is ever going to believe that these things exist. He gets the documents. He signs a declassification order through Mark Meadows, who was his chief of staff at the time, former Congressman Mark Meadows. And Mark Meadows has confirmed this, that Meadows signed the declass order. He sent it to the Department of Justice, said, yeah, this is all done. This is all squared away. But they still were FBI was trying to get those documents back, because ultimately, Mancow, what it shows is that entire investigation was a complete joke. They made it all up. And what Trump did was held this back as a way to be his insurance policy against them.
Like Huma's computer.
Precisely.
So for
Huma's, I would say it was Weiner's, it was Anthony Weiner's laptop, but we got it because Huma's BlackBerry had this. I love the story. People forget this part. That Huma's, we thought that the laptop was gone. We thought it was destroyed, but Huma's BlackBerry was set to back up the Hillary emails, like, kind of like the BlackBerry version of the cloud, whatever that was. And she had a full copy of the Hillary documents that were backed up that ended up on Anthony Weiner's laptop, which was gotten not by the FBI, not by the DOJ, but the NYPD because of his own pedophile crimes. That's why they confiscated the laptop, which, going back, it was like the 2016 we had Weiner's laptop, then 2020 we got Hunter Biden's laptop. It's like, if these guys would just stop committing sex crimes and doing drugs, then maybe we wouldn't, we wouldn't get copies of their laptops. But on the other hand, Mancow, I think we might have to thank them in a sense for doing drugs so much, because this is the only way we can actually find out what our government is really up to.
I want you and I to be friends, and our host is excited. Our host in Florida, I spent the day with him yesterday, and he's living large and got a new TV show coming and all kinds of stuff. And he's excited.
I love when good people are doing good, man.
And I don't think he'd want me to mention his name right now, but I want you and I to be friends. So, and I want you to come back on the show.
So we'll do it.
No, but I may be blowing it now.
No, I have to. No, I have to, because I got a book. I got a communism book coming out.
Good.
It drops in July, 4th of July. So we got like 3-4 months.
We're just getting started, but
we're humping it.
What I want to say is I want to go into what people think is crazy town. Okay.
Yeah.
And I've had mutual friends of ours joke about, I got to get my indochrone, or what do they call it? Whatever that stuff.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Do you really not?
Adrenochrome.
Yeah. And all the pedophilia and everything I hear about, I do tend to think that this is really exaggerated.
Look, there was a guy, what's his name, arrested in the UK yesterday. Post Millennial has the story, who was an Obama and Hillary advisor on foreign policy, who was just arrested for child sex crimes.
There's a mini series. I'm sure you've seen it.
Rami Shai. His name was Rami Shai. Well, there's a name for you. Rami Shai, arrested and charged with child sex crimes in Great Britain.
So that's the question. Are we really just dealing with a bunch of satanic pedophiles?
Well, satanic for sure. I mean, obviously when you go past in a post Jeffrey Epstein environment, we have to ask the question of, how can you possibly say that there weren't people that were involved in this when we can see the flight logs to the island, when we know this is, I say sarcastically, I don't want to say joke because it's not a joking matter, but I say sarcastically that Ghislaine Maxwell is currently sitting in prison for running a pedophile network, but it's the only time where someone's ever going to jail for running a pedophile network, or in this case, she was the madam. I call her Lady Epstein. So Lady Epstein's in jail for running the pedophile network, but we don't know the names of any of the pedophiles. We don't know the names of any of the clients. We don't have any of the names that were on these CDs, the CDs that magically disappeared after the FBI went into Epstein's Manhattan, his townhouse there. They magically go in there, the lawyer lets them in, and then suddenly all the DVDs are gone. So, and it's very clear to me that what was going on there, and the question, how did this guy make his money? How did he get these connections in the first place? It's very clear to me, and I think anyone who's just looking at this, who's being honest, that this was clearly a blackmail operation. And it was a blackmail operation that I'm sure multiple intel agencies, not just from the United States, but from all around the world, were playing.
It was Israeli. Yes.
Look, he was
Mossad.
We can say for certainty that Ghislaine Maxwell's father, Robert Maxwell, was absolutely and was proudly at one point working with Israeli intelligence. There's no question about that whatsoever. You want to talk about a guy who dies mysteriously, by the way, Robert Maxwell, who we're told fell off of his boat in the middle of the night when he went to go and take a leak off the back of it and never came back. That's how Ghislaine Maxwell's father passes away. And keep in mind, it's funny because not funny, but it's, it is funny. That so he's on, he passed away, but what was he known for? He ran the British tabloids. And who is the first witness in Trump's trial today? The guy who ran the National Enquirer. So these are the guys, and you see that the Stormy Daniels story, as ridiculous as it is, but you can also see that this guy David Pecker, what a name, right?
Wow.
What a name. Here I thought Mancow was the best name, but no, it's David Pecker.
Thank you.
And he's got you beat. I'm sorry, he's got you beat. And we find that he's got a safe full of stories that he's collected over the years that he's never released. So the tabloid guys, the dirt sheets, whatever name you want to call it, the paparazzos, the guys who are at the heads of these organizations are in the keeping of secrets, particularly when it comes to sexual secrets. They're the ones who actually have the dirt. They're the ones who actually have the blackmail. So here you see another situation where with Maxwell's father, it has to deal with the tabloids on who? The British royal family.
Wow.
And so the question really before us, I think when you really zoom out on all of this, is when we're sitting here trying to figure out, you'll look at something like, the FISA, I made a joke about it, the FISA bill passed again, and the Ukraine funding's going through, and all this, funding for this and funding for that's going through. And you're saying, is it really just because, we just care so much and we have to do this? I'm not making any direct accusations on anyone, but I'm just saying from a high level perspective, if we don't, or if we constantly discount, or we don't even consider the level that blackmail, and particularly sexual blackmail, is playing into our political process. That's the U.S. political process. That's the UK. We know Ehud Barak was former Israeli prime minister who was involved with Jeffrey Epstein. So again, the way that these operations work hand in glove with intelligence operations around the world, making decisions that we see publicly, we can kind of sort of get glimpses into what's going on, but we never actually see what's happening behind closed doors. And I just think, how can you understand what's going on in your own world if you don't even consider these things?
Jack, can I hit with some stuff and a little bit rapid fire?
Let's go. I'll tell you what I know.
My take is, the Supreme Court justice. We got a Supreme Court justice that's obviously compromised. I believe the Speaker of the House is compromised, and if Lindsey Graham is, to me, way compromised. Do you think I'm on the right path with these?
Lindsey Graham is an interesting character.
Yeah. Is Chuck Schumer with a man? Is that a man?
No, I don't think so.
No.
I think that Schumer
is Michelle a man?
He's just corrupt.
Is Michelle Michael?
What can I say?
What do you think?
You're
intelligence.
I've seen linebackers with smaller backs than that.
I've been around her. That's a big girl.
I haven't had the pleasure. Have I?
You're a Catholic.
I've seen Barack Obama. I've never been around Michelle.
I was with Barack. I spent significant time. I guess I spent significant time, several hours with him one-on-one. And, his answers were all, look, you're Catholic. I'm kind of back to being a Catholic, but
welcome back. Welcome home.
After what I experienced in the evangelical church and this devil, but this fraud. But it was a Muslim talking to me. I mean, that's all I can tell you. What do you think of Jesus Christ? Well, Jesus Christ was the son of God, and he's coming back. And this is what Christians say. Obama said, well, he was a good teacher. That's what Muslims say. We're talking about the compromise of the English family, and I just wonder how long before the Islamic presence in England rises up and just kills these people. I hope it doesn't happen. A recent visit to London was really shocking. It is a full-on. Well, London anyway is full on Islamic. Obviously, Obama promoted that here in America. Now we've got areas that you can't go into anymore in America. You've got crowds cheering, death to America, pro-Hamas teachers, pro-Hamas this and that.
Well, the camps. Have you seen the camps?
Yes. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so we're calling them the Gaza camps, and the Gaza camps are coming up. We put a map up earlier this morning on humanevents.com. We already have to update the map, because I think there's like a dozen more at this point. It's almost every top tier college, or I should say so-called top tier college in America is going on. And if you think for a second that that's not coordinated, if you think that there isn't some organizing factor behind all this, it doesn't just happen overnight like that. No.
So isn't the communist injecting us with these people that are against? I mean, sorry, Sharia law does not work with what America was founded on. And I got Muslim friends and all that line, but I really do. I don't have any hatred for Muslim people, but they've come here for a reason. And I've been to Muslim countries. I don't need to go back. Oh man, Dubai's cool. Yeah, I'll never know. I don't care. So they were inserted here for a reason. What I'm saying is it to bring on communism, and is that what this is? And these 10 million people that came in under Biden, are they here to put a boot on our throats, take our guns, and make us just a godless slave state?
Well, there's a longer reasoning behind all of it. The short answer is yes. Short answer is absolutely yes, because the injection of third worlders, the injection of so many, and keep in mind, what was Obama doing, right? You said you talked with Obama. Where was Obama putting these people? Where was he creating these no-go zones, right?
Michigan.
They weren't being sent to liberal areas. No, they were being sent to rural Midwestern areas, because the communist looks at a map and looks at a density map and says, oh, look at all this land. I can inject some refugees there. So how is it that we have Ilhan Omar representing a district in Minnesota? Yeah. Think about that.
Yeah. Married to her brother, right?
And this was, of course, supposedly. And this was, committed education fraud, probably immigration fraud. I mean, there's no question she should lose her citizenship over that. But the reasoning is because we were told that the Somali migrants, and particularly the refugees, of which Ilhan Omar herself is a Somali refugee who was repopulated, should be repopulated into America's heartland. How do you change America from the inside? You change who the Americans are. And you do that by bringing over, whether it be the refugees, quote unquote, refugees from the Middle East, or you bring over millions of people across the southern border, which, by the way, these are the dregs of Latin America, the dregs of South America. They're letting out the criminals. There's middle class in Mexico. There's middle class in all these areas. They're not leaving. Those aren't the ones that are coming across the border. No, it's the Indios and everything else that are coming across. And you're right, because you want to talk, and just I'll throw on my intel cap here for a second. You want to talk terrorism, because people suddenly bring up with Iran, Israel trading missiles a couple of nights ago. Fortunately, that was more of a chest bumping kind of thing. But this if you want to talk terrorism, think about it. 9/11 takes place. They come in under false pretenses. They all get driver's licenses, and then they're flying the planes and they're learning the training. What's the first thing? What's the first thing that the Biden administration gives to every illegal alien that it lets out into the United States? A free airplane ticket. And they say, you can go wherever you want. Yeah. You can go to the airport of your choice. So if I'm like ISIS, or if I'm, the IRGC, this Iranian group, and I decide that I want to do something to the United States, it would be the easiest terrorist operation in the world. You wouldn't even need a conspiracy.
They want it. Right? They want it.
It's like you are.
They want it so that they can put more rules on us.
100% they want it. And this is what people need to understand. This is actually the theme of the whole new book.
Take our guns, take everything, because look at this violence. Look how violent our cities are. We got to do something. Go ahead, Jack.
To destabilize. They need to destabilize our society, because American society is good. Our country was doing great before COVID, right? Before COVID, everything was doing well. Trump was in office. People were making money. Everything was kind of safe. They maybe like, oh, I don't like his tweets. I don't like his press conference, whatever. But everybody's getting rich. Everybody's getting rich, and wasn't no World War III going on. But then all of a sudden, it's like somebody flips a switch, and now all the crazies are getting let out of jail again. All the violence is going on in the streets, and we're told, oh, we can't do anything about this. And you got DAs that say, oh, no, we're going to let that guy out. But this guy who's running for office, we're going to go after him and lock him up and put him away because of some like paperwork deal from 10 years ago. And then they'll say, oh, these millions of people coming across the border. Well, it has to happen. They're just newcomers. They're not illegal aliens. They're newcomers.
Newcomers.
And
I
it's
love that
very
bullshit
obvious.
term. Yeah.
It's very obvious. And you could talk about Cloward and Piven. You could talk about all these different types of cultural Marxism and all these ideologies that go into it, and the rich history behind it. And we've got the book, and we do go into this, but it's very clear, right? Just take a step back. And this is what I always say, that I'm not even talking like from a conservative standpoint here. I'm just talking from a normal person standpoint, that if you think that this isn't being done deliberately, if you think that this isn't being done as part of a wider agenda to destabilize the country in order to make people get so upset, this is how do you get someone to agree to something, right? You turn up the pain, you turn up the pain, you turn up the pain, and then you say, if you walk through that door right there, if you open that door and walk right through that door, the pain will go away. The pain will stop. Everything.
And the answer is going to be China, right?
And
so we have no order, and China will offer order.
Well, here's what it is. What it is. It's not just China, right? And I saw this because I lived in China. All right, I lived in China for 2 years. I lived in Shanghai. I was at the U.S. Chamber of Commerce. I worked in international business there. I saw how their model worked, and this was the big lie. The big lie back then. People would run around saying, "Oh, if the West opens up to China." If the West opens up to China, that'll make China more like the West. It'll make them more free. It'll make them more democratic. It'll make them embrace capitalism, et cetera, et cetera. And the opposite came true. And I'll tell you why. Because I would be over there and people would go to the Shanghai Planning Museum. And they would go to the Shanghai Planning Museum and they would talk to the Shanghai officials. Xi Jinping, by the way, was the general secretary of Shanghai before he became the president of the whole country / general secretary of the Communist Party, the CCP. And they would come over there and say like, oh, wow, so you're building a maglev, you're building a high-speed rail. That's amazing. That's incredible. It goes so fast. It's, this technology, levitation, incredible. It's so, I wish I could do something like that. And then somebody might say, some governor or some business leader would go, well, wait, what about the people who live in the area? What about their property rights? And, what about, do you get any historic commissions come in and say, oh, this is an area? And the CCP officials just look at it and go, the people in the way. What about them? What about it? Get rid of them. Get rid of them. And so they became intoxicated with the level of power that the technocrats of the CCP.
Come in, guys. We've got some studio audience people here. Come in.
Yeah, come on in. The more the merrier. And the idea is, I love an audience. And the idea is, when it's my kids, because they're always trying to crowd out the camera. Where can I say that?
They steal focus, don't they?
The apple don't fall too far from the tree. Yeah, and they totally upstage. And the issue was they became so intoxicated with that power that the CCP had. They said, how can we get that for ourselves? How can we get the mitts for ourselves? Because we love that power. And then they come up with these terms: misinformation, disinformation, convenience. People know
the show's on at 7.
In the name of it, dude, I'm the same. I'm the exact same way. And I go, and it's like people call me. I'm like, why you call me? You know my show's on time. Why are you doing this? Why? Or like somebody hits me.
These are fans that are here to see the show. These are. I have a little studio area here.
Yeah.
I have a couple of seats and listeners come in. Hello.
Oh, good. Very cool. No, the way that they became intoxicated and infatuated wasn't even through subversion, like financial subversion or Eric Swalwell.
They want the power.
It's all power.
They don't care about
the most powerful aphrodisiac.
I'm watching a gentleman in Moscow. By the way, I've spent time in China as well. I'm watching a gentleman in Moscow.
Is that good? I heard some people say it was kind of woke.
Well, wait a minute. So the communists take over, and the communists that are judging a former member or associate of the Romanov family. Are you ready? This is the first 2 minutes.
Right.
Dreadlocked, I assume African American or English actor.
What?
A black guy. As a communist freedom fighter, commie fighter against the czars in Russia at that era, full dreadlocks, sitting there. Like, come on. And I love the talented Miss Ripley. Come in, please, guys.
I'm
come
sure
in and stand there.
Probably
Huey, close the door. What's the problem?
Involved. I mean, there are black people in Russia, but the idea that they're going to be leading this, no.
Would they have been? I really don't know. Would they have been there judging members of the Tsar's family for the communists?
Of course not.
With dreadlocks?
Absolutely not. No.
I mean, and let me give you another one. So I love the Talented Mr. Ripley.
Historical revisionism.
I love the books. I love the Malkovich sequel.
And unfortunately, what they're really doing, and I'll just show that because you brought it up about the Romanov family. What they're really doing, and it's quite unfortunate.
That's coming from the royal family.
They're blaming, right? They're going to blame that on somebody else when we know that it was the Bolsheviks who did what they did to the Romanov family. Well, they didn't just judge them. They took them out and exiled them into Western, like Siberia. They put them out in this house in Siberia. And then one night they call them all up and they say, hey, we're going to come take your picture downstairs. Let's all get dressed up for the big photo shoot.
Oh my God.
And they bring them into the basement.
Horrific.
The father, the mother, and all the children. All the children.
Yeah.
And these are the Christian leaders. Right. They're Orthodox, but they're Christian leaders. They bring them down and they say, where's the camera? And then the guns come out.
Yeah.
And then they just lined them up against the wall, and even every single one of the children. And they said because some people they missed with some of the kids, then they gave the order. We write about this in the book, and nobody talks about it. It's one of the most horrific acts in human history. They pulled out the bayonets to go after the kids. Shit. That's the Bolsheviks. That's who the Bolsheviks are. And they say, well, it was resentment. Or they deserved it.
The one on Ripley is it's Sting's daughter, I assume. They go by they, them. And there's a character named Freddie. And this, again, Talented Mr. Ripley, the miniseries. And there's this Freddie, and it's a girl. And it's, to me, I think it's a girl. I know they're they and them. There's numerous of them, I guess. I only saw one person. Anyway, it's just very hard to watch anything anymore. And I
want to watch.
I never had a problem with this. I don't care. It's just when it's injected to wake me, to teach me something. It's part of the story.
Here's my new rule. If I'm only going to watch a new movie or series, if the media hates it, if the media is hating on it and calling it racist or something. So I'll give you an example. Yeah. So that I haven't seen it yet. I have seen.
I thought that was great. Yeah.
Yeah, Reacher was very good.
Yeah.
But then of course they have to have the actor come out and be like, "Oh, Trump is evil and this and that." And
I didn't know this. I didn't know this.
You got to pay the.
Wait a minute. The Reacher actor did that. Did the Reacher guy do that?
Totally did.
I ran into him in Vegas at the Cosmopolitan. He could not have been nicer. This was like 3 or 4 weeks ago.
No, I'm telling you, this is it's like they have to pay the woke toll.
Did you know this?
Pay the woke toll.
My wife tried to tell me, she goes, you won't believe what's going on with this guy. I said, I don't know, please. It's the one thing I enjoy. There's not much.
I ruined it for you.
That's okay.
Had to be
I
done.
can't. Screw it. I can't. I won't watch Reacher again.
I even read some of those books. I thought the Reacher books were well done.
I did too.
I did too. Very good. And I even like I like the first Tom Cruise movie, not the second one. I thought the second one was a little bit overwrought, but I like the first one with the counterfeit.
Okay.
I
cut you off.
Real quick. This is what I was gonna say. The show that I want to see, I haven't seen it yet, but I got some travel coming up here. And so we might be able to because we'll be on flights. There's this movie Shogun, or the series Shogun. That's coming out.
It's great. It's great.
And people say it's great.
Shogun, great.
The reason I know that it must be good, I'll tell you how I know it must be good, is because people are complaining. They said it's racist because all the characters are Japanese. It's set in ancient Japan.
I'm telling you, if it was a Disney movie, they would have dreadlocks, right?
I don't expect to see some Polish guys up there on the street.
No, it'd be trans.
A show called Shogun. It's called Shogun. You're watching a show about Japan.
I loved it as a kid with Richard Chamberlain. Yeah, and the new one was great. I haven't gotten through it yet, but I will. Okay, Jack. So let's. I want to speed up a little bit.
Yeah, let's go.
Just because I'm running out of time. When you say satanic, they're satanic. Are they literally satanic, or are you just saying it like, oh, she's a jerk? Do you think they are literally worshiping Satan?
Well, I mean, we know for a fact that the satanic statue of Baphomet was placed in the Iowa State Capitol last year. So
unbelievable.
And that there were people who were literally worshiping Satan. And I remember that there were even conservatives and there were Christians who said that we must allow this to stay up there because of the blessings of liberty.
Yeah,
and then
it's amazing how Christians
Michael Cassidy. Yeah, it's always Christians who are the ones who have to take it on the chin. Nobody ever says that you have to put up a statue of Satan in like a Muslim center or a Jewish center. No, it's always Christians.
True.
And Michael Cassidy, this guy who just saw the whole thing that was going on, and this is Iowa again, the heartland. They understand
on purpose.
They always target the heartland.
Yeah.
It's very, and I say this. I'm like a Philadelphia area guy. Like that's not. my neck of the woods in any way, but it's very obvious that this is what's being targeted because they know if they can get the heartland Americans, that's it, because that's the strategic readout that's left. Those are the people that are most Christian. Those are the people that are most ethically homogenous. Those are the people that are just not necessarily
right.
Republican,
Jack,
but just
I gotta speed up. I gotta speed up. I got hundreds of questions for you.
They're going after that guy for a hate crime for knocking that statue over. They're putting a hate crime on him.
Brother, my friend just had a gun pulled on him in Chicago. The guy said something about his skin color, which is the same as ours. No hate crimes there. It's amazing. And what percentage of the population are we talking about? And how much representation? I remember this has nothing to do with anything. I just remember the people yelling at George Lucas, why are there no Chinese people in Star Wars? It's like, it's in space, assholes.
There's green people and people with stuff coming out of their heads, and
and every show you see now, it makes no sense. These historic shows with I don't know, some guy with huge jugs. All right, okay, so boy, we heard about when I first
week, man. Sydney Sweeney. By the way, that's who should be Trump's VP is Sydney Sweeney. Get her in there.
What do you think about Huckabee's daughter?
Sarah Huckabee Sanders could be a good pick. I think she's obviously she's got
That's
the chop.
my pick.
She's got some seriousness. I've heard some talk recently, just earlier today. Doug Burgum, the guy, he was the North Dakota governor, and he's been on the campaign trail quite a bit. He's a guy that is getting a little bit of a look right now. I think Trump is looking at the Midwest.
Is he going to win? I think is he our next president?
It's 50-50.
If it happens, is it because they let it happen and they want the cities to burn, and they'll say, "Oh, it's people are anti-fascist, and that's why these 10 million people are here."
No, they don't want
visitors.
No, they don't want Trump.
They don't want him to win.
They don't want him to win at all. But the problem, are they acting like they want him to win with the charges, with putting him on a communist show trial that's going on right now in New York City?
The amount of commie friends of mine, the commie liberal friends I have that are now pro-Trump, I don't know how they're going to be able to fudge it.
No, people, they can see, because they can see the real numbers on the ground. Those guys are better polling than anyone in the world.
So Trump
they
is
have the operations. They can see.
What are the real numbers, Jack? This is your expertise.
Well, look, the polls. Look,
Trump's by far.
The polls are the polls, but here's the problem, right? Is you must, and I say this as a son of the state of Pennsylvania, is that Trump needs to win above the margin.
Of course, we all think that.
You have to win above the margin of fraud. If you only have a marginal win, it's not going to be enough. RFK is a huge wild card. It's hard to see which way he cuts, because obviously he's Democrat royalty. There's no question. Personally, no. I'm not a supporter of RFK. He's just there's certain things that I think he says that are good. But there are other. I'll put it this way. Is he someone that I could consider, maybe Trump having in his cabinet at some point on some specific thing like DHS or DHHS, Health and Health and Human Services, maybe something like that. But for president, no, I don't support him.
Jack, I do think he is right on when it comes to what we went through with the vaccinations. I still can't believe Trump is standing by that.
No disagreement there. No disagreement.
I think the Trump immediate family is totally against him on this, based on my conversations. I think they're anti-vax. I think Trump is anti-vax. I just think he won't say it because it would make him look like he goofed. I wish he would come forward and say that.
What I would love to see.
I mean, the force. What we went through.
Here's a way that I think that they could put it is what Trump could, because remember, the pharmaceutical companies waited until after 1 week after the election in 2020 to announce that there even was a vaccine, because we were told Trump is mismanaging COVID. And all the normies out there said, oh, we just got to get rid of Trump and then we'll be able to get rid of COVID and we'll go back to normal. Again, remember, the pain and the door. This is the construct.
Lose your job or get it.
Lose your job or get it. Yeah. So what I think Trump could say is to say, look, these companies lied. They lied to me. They lied to everybody. They lied to the government. They told me the stuff was good. We did the trials. They claimed the trials were real. And, then that would be a way for him to pivot on the issue specifically for those people that are, because look, at the end of the day, we know COVID only affected certain people. If you were immunocompromised, or I'm just going to say, if you were obese,
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
COVID was probably pretty bad for you.
It's nothing
But
personal.
all of us did not have to worry about this the way we did, the same way, but they wouldn't say that because it wasn't politically correct.
Do you remember them saying they wouldn't take the vaccine because it came from Trump? And then,
Yeah,
and by the way,
I've got all the
these are the
I've got
same
all the
neighbors that would put us
montages
into.
of Hillary.
These are the same
and-
neighbors are going to be marching for the commies. These are the same neighbors that are going to come and get your guns.
Those are,
These
and they're the
mad
neighbors who will
nuts.
and this is what people need to understand, because
Suburban housewives, right?
you mentioned
The housewives of suburbia.
There's
Dangerous as hell.
there's a line in 1984 where there's so many lines where he just nails it, but he specifically says that women are the greatest enforcers of the party. And I'm like,
boy, they are
and I'm
militant,
like,
man, where I'm at.
And it's just like, and like you mentioned your wife be Italian. My wife is Eastern European. So she grew up she was born in the Soviet Union. She's got a Soviet birth
So she
certificate.
sees it.
And
she sees it.
She's seen it. And what it really
but
is.
she sees
and
it
this is what
here.
people have to understand. Oh, she sees it, of course.
Oh, yeah.
But what she'll say is, it's not like the government just is running around everywhere. No. It's your neighbors. It's the guy down the block who doesn't like you, or he's got some grievance against you.
Oh, yeah.
Because you parked in his spot, or it's stupid. It's the dumbest stuff.
Tattletale Nation.
Or somebody you
snitches.
wouldn't take the girl to the dance, and then someone goes snitch, and someone snitches. Oh, I heard Mancow was speaking out against the secretary. Oh, I heard Poso was was saying that you shouldn't take the vax. Yeah, Poso was bragging about not taking the vax.
Poso. I did a open the schools rally, and it was racist, and nobody could figure out how it was racist, because I said it was
people go to school.
No, it was no. I said, look at this, north side of Chicago, good looking people. Oh, why? Because there's more blacks on the south side. It's racist. The other thing I was told at another speech I gave was the word patriot. The word patriot is racist. I have no idea how the word patriot is racist, you bastards. But you got to use these certain words, and they and them and all these pronouns, and this is what they do, and they trick you and they trap you and they screw you up. And I want to ask you, you're writing a book, or show me the cover of the book if you have it. We were going to have you back on, but you're talking about communism.
On me. I'm a bad salesman. The book is called Unhumans: The Secret History of Communist Revolutions and How to Crush Them. It's called
So they went after the kids first. Is this correct? They went like Disney is going after the kids. They don't go for the guns right away, right? They indoctrinate the kids. Is that what's happened?
Oh yeah. They go directly for the educational centers. And keep in mind, what does Chairman Mao do in the communist? I should say the Cultural Revolution, which was the second revolution that he conducted in China. Is he went right to the kids, and he said, and people understand that the Cultural Revolution that Mao launched in the 1960s was against his own party, because they were about to throw him out. This is after the Great Leap Forward, after he kills 50 million people. And they say, we got to get rid of this guy. We got to get rid of this guy. He's nuts. He's crazy. He's syphilitic, which he was. And a pedophile. And he's got like the 13-year-old girls in his bed and all this. And then like there's so much, right? There's so much to Mao. But what does he do? He goes to the kids. He goes to the kids and says, if you are a true believer in our cause, if you are a true believer in our revolution, you will rise now. Rise up against your teachers, rise up against your parents, rise up against your principals. And you had kids in high schools and colleges beating their principals to death across the entire country of China. I don't even need to tell you how many millions of people that is. There were some cases where it got so bad that the minute that a teacher would get accused, that she would just throw herself out a window. She would just throw herself out a window because she didn't want to have to face.
Do you have kids?
The mob. I have 2 little boys.
Do you have kids? How old?
5 and 3.
How old are they? What?
5 and 3.
How old are they? Can you believe? I hear you. Can you hear me?
I can.
Can you not hear me? Okay. But can you believe what they're shoveling for your kids? Can you believe what passes for entertainment? There is no chitty chitty bang bang. There is no Willy Wonka. Everything is just about programming.
So we go back, and what we do is I'm not like militant or anything about my kids, but what I do when it comes to their education and when it comes to their entertainment, but what I do is I let them watch old stuff. And so I'll go and download like we watched like all the old DuckTales and
Yeah,
old
yeah.
Ghostbusters, and just we watched
It's in
Sandlot
DuckTales
last
too.
night. You know, no,
Sandlot's a
the
great
old
one.
one, the old
Yeah,
one.
yeah.
Not the new one. We watched the old stuff and they love it. They love everything about it. We watched Tom and Jerry. We watch the, you know, Looney Tunes, like the original, just good stuff. And they
So,
love it. They can't
so
get enough.
you're married.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so maybe you can relate, and I'm going to tell you the biggest mistake of my life.
Okay.
The biggest mistake of my life.
Let's go. I'm in. I'm locked in.
I had kids that had to read every Steinbeck book. They had to read every Dahl book.
Yeah.
They had to read everything. They painted. They ran outside.
Mm-hmm.
And I love her. The greatest decision I made was to marry her. I love my wife, but they had to have a phone. They have to. They have to. We have to know where they are. Why? Nobody's ever been kidnapped in our neighborhood. Nothing's ever happened in our neighborhood. I live in a nice. They have to. All their friends have it. And it went on for several years. And I fought and I got exhausted. And around 14, they got a phone, and the children that I loved disappeared. And I got grunting. Oh, and there's going to be all kinds of rules. Well, you know that's bullshit.
Wow.
There's going to be all kinds of rules. They're not going to have the phone in their room. Well, of course, every day they're
couldn't get the phone out of the room.
So instead of these bright kids, Daddy, here's a painting. Instead of that, I get So Jack and I told our friend Billy the same thing. If you're giving them a box of spiders, it's a communist programming devil box.
I'll tell you this. My
you
wife
won't do it. You'll be better than me.
My wife is totally on board with that. She's totally against screens and phones for the kids.
In her defense, it was before we knew what we know. Yeah.
You know, we have the benefit, right? We have the benefit of those because you know our kids are little. We have the benefit of those who lived through it once already. And I anyone who was on the front lines, you know, I can't judge because I wasn't there. But I will say this: what we do is because when we travel, we take our kids with us. We've taken our kids international. They've been to Europe. They've been to Japan. I'll go speak somewhere. Oh, they love Japan. I love Japan. Well, I'll go speak somewhere, and then I'll just, you know, I'll bring the kids along because I want them to be there and I want them to experience these things. But what we do, you say, well, what about, you know, if they're out in the world, there's air tags. We just get air tags for them. We say slap a tag on their clothing or something, and boom, now I could see where they are 24/7, and there ain't no phone.
Jack, I'm going to wind it down. Okay,
let's do it. Let's wind it down.
I want to tell you, I don't think I've ever watched a podcast. I was doing AM radio. I mean, I listen to vinyl.
Well, vinyl sounds better anyway.
What's that?
Vinyl sounds better anyway.
Yeah, it does. But I want to tell you the chance to hang out with somebody of your caliber and to be enriched. And I read 5 books a week. It's not to brag, but you know, I love biographies. And my God, you can get their wisdom, a lifetime of wisdom in several hundred pages. To sit with you and talk to you is it's really been a great night for me. And thank you.
Man. I really appreciate that.
And I enjoyed hanging out with you in Florida. And I want to, and we'll go hang out with Trump, but I want to have you back on to promote your book. Can you tell me, because you do have the intel of what's going on, and you just spend whatever, 30 seconds or whatever, 30 minutes, but where are we headed? What's coming for us? What are your predictions?
Okay. So, I mean, this is what I said before, right? It's very clear. There's one way ahead, and that's the China model. And the China model is it's malicious, but it's not malicious in the way people think. It's malicious in the sense that you'll be ruled by AI. That AI will essentially make the decisions. The elites will just be in power. They won't even make decisions. They'll just say, whatever keeps me in power is what I'll do. And they'll go to the algorithm every day and press the button, and the button will tell them what to do, and they'll follow the algorithm, and they'll just go with that. And we're already seeing this in Canada. You're seeing this in a lot of Western Europe, parts of Eastern Europe, not most of Eastern Europe. But that's the idea, is that the goal of technocracy, right? The end state of technocracy is that you're ruled by the algorithm, essentially. And then keep in mind that the next generation of leaders, the ones that haven't chosen it, the ones that it rose up within it, they won't even know how to run the algorithm because their entire lives will have been dictated by the algorithm to begin with. And you can call it the algorithm, you call it AI, you call it AG, whatever word you want to use for it. I don't care. That's not the point. It's that the machine will make your decisions for you. The other option and this is the same one where government has total power. This is the one where, you just become a consumer. You're essentially a serf. You have no agency. You can choose whatever show on Netflix to watch, right? That's your choice. It's the illusion of choice. Well, I can watch whatever I want. I've got a million choices. Yeah. This Netflix or the other Netflix.
Your 15-minute city.
Yeah. 15
for the environment
cities,
or bullshit.
And the other option is humanity.
Cashless.
And humanity is that sort of brash attitude, particularly when it comes to, I would say, Western civilization, just that attitude of, I don't care what the data says. I don't care what the studies say. I'm doing it anyway. And it's going to work, and I'm going to get there, and we're going to make it happen. And this do you
see that happening? Because I had a guy last week say, would you die for your country? Well, people got to be willing to die for. Yeah, I'd be willing to die for my country. But what are we talking about?
I mean, look, it's funny. I had that conversation with another guy, another vet buddy of mine.
No, but I don't know I don't even know what that means, really. Yes, if I need to stand up,
you have to have people who are willing to go all the way. You have to
Racine, Wisconsin,
that are willing to.
I'm sorry,
I haven't been to Racine.
No. They just put something.
I've been to Kenosha. I've been to Kenosha. I've been to Milwaukee. I've been around a little bit of Green Bay. I've not been.
But they're putting up that Racine wants to be a 15-minute city, which means you can't
want to be. Oh God,
you can't go within 15 minutes of your house. At 16 minutes, you're stopped.
There's an interesting history of socialism in like Wisconsin and Michigan because they got in through the labor unions, and this is something that Joseph McCarthy and Walt Disney specifically warned about in the 40s and 50s. They said the communists
McCarthy was right, and so was
Walt
about these things. Yeah,
100% right.
Yeah,
what did McCarthy say? What did McCarthy say? He said they're getting into Hollywood, they're getting into the institutions, they're getting into the CIA, they're getting into the military, they're getting into the government, they're in the State Department. They gave Eastern Europe to the Soviets, they gave China to the Soviets. What was wrong? What was wrong with that?
I love our teachers always quoting McCarthy. McCarthyism.
Tell me where he was right. Tell me where he was wrong.
Yeah, they were commie bastards, and they were trying to destroy our schools, and people. God, why Disney has lost so much money on Star Wars, right? They spent certainly they're going to wake up there, and I see this. Hillary's going to be locked up. Everything. It never happens because it's not about money. It's about power and control, and they're getting money from their Chinese masters. They don't give a shit about you and your kids. Wake up, Jack. I'm going to give you the final word. I'm going to go away. Go ahead,
because I want to give you the white pill at the end of it, and this is why we called the book Unhumans. Because unhumanity is a choice. You can go in with unhumanity, and you can, just go into. You could take the blue pill, right, and go back into the Matrix, and go right back to sleep, and go back into Wonderland, and there you go. And a lot of people want to do that. Or you can, or you could take the other choice and say, I want to be a human being. It's the power of the word no.
To be a human being. Say it with me, guys. I want to be a human being. Speak up. I want to be a human being. Okay.
It's the power of the word no. The power of the word no. Just being able to say that to people in your life, to people in the government, to people that are coming at you with their latest, and there's something with people, certain people who are just like, that's BS, and you got a high guard BS filter, and you're just like, you know what? No, I ain't doing that. I ain't doing that. Why would I do that?
I always say that doesn't work for me.
Yeah. You need a little of that. You need someone who's willing to walk away from the table and just say, I'm done. This isn't a good deal. I'm out. And you need other people as well. And this is where people have their different takes on Elon Musk. I get that. But I really view Elon as the kind of guy who wants, and you said I've read all the bios on him. He's the kind of guy who wants to go to the stars. And we used to and take, whatever credit, and I could criticize him all day long. But what happened to the people of the West who said we were going to go and colonize the stars, and we were going to go to the moon, and we were going to go to Mars, and then we were going to start going to the asteroid belt, and we were going to push out, and we were going to do all this stuff. And you remember all that, the science fiction shows that we all grew up watching? What happened to those people? What happened to the people that wanted to, I mean, cliche use the term, but like boldly go, right? Yeah. Actually exploring space is a real frontier. Like, you're going to die.
Can we even do it? Can we do it? I mean, a lot of people don't believe we can even do it.
Right now, we would take some work.
That's a whole other
right now. It would take some work right now, but
and Neuralink with Musk really bothers me. Neuralink scares the shit out of me,
bothers
man.
me as well.
So
But
Musk is great. That bothers me.
By the way, all I'm going to say to all the people who want to get a Neuralink is I'm going to hack your Neuralink and I'm going to be sending you the Rick Astley video so many times over and over. You're going to get hacked.
You're going to Rickroll. You're going to Rickroll everybody.
I mean, I'm just walking down the street Rickrolling people.
All right.
No, that'll be me.
I'm going to say goodnight.
I'm the guy. Yeah. By the way, if you leave if you're on a plane with me or in a public space, what I do is I look for people who have,
send me a link thing. What do they call
it? No, the air. You got Bluetooth open. If you have AirDrop open, no, I just send people Pepe memes. I just send Pepe memes all over, and it just pops up on your phone. Poof, and there's Pepe.
Pepe memes.
I'm just doing it constantly.
I like the cat and the offended women too. By the way, it's kind of gone away.
All of it.
I did not like the guy with the giant. The African American with the giant. You won't believe what
you're talking about.
I don't either. I don't either.
Not seen something.
I don't either. I don't either. All right. Hey, look, they finally got Hillary. Here's the video, and then you see this guy sitting there on the. You bastards! All right.
What can I say, man? All my vet buddies.
Be blessed. Take care of your kids. Keep off Disney. Keep them off the phones. We're gonna have you back. The book's gonna be a smash. Mad love. And yeah, as my mom used to say, shut up.